Hello all, welcome back to another episode of the Casual Criminalist. This is the first one for me, back from Christmas break. And I would say I'm feeling rested. But my wife and I, we thought, you know what would be a brilliant thing to do over Christmas break? What we'll do is we'll try and potty train our 2-year-old. We were going to do it a few months earlier, but we had another kid and they're like, when you have another, this is not relevant to the show at all. I'm sorry, this is, after the break, I'm like, oh, there's things I want to say. There's updates I've got. Today, Israel Keys, the Phantom Psychopath. Or psychopath? Psychopath. It sounds like I'm from the north, which is a bit weird. Also, addressing the pronunciation of this dude's name. Like, we say his name is like the country, like Israel. And I know Americans say Israel. So, I don't know if it's Israel Keys or Israel Keys. I'm definitely probably just going to go with Israel, like the British way, because if I try and say it, let's see if this Israel... Does he have an entry in the dictionary? No, he doesn't. Wow, I mean, I knew Alaska was like, not small, Alaska's large, but like barely populated. But that is really tiny. Also, Anchorage. I mean, no offense to anyone from Anchorage, but this sounds like a really boring place. Maybe beautiful, like there's these nice large mountains, but what's the town about? It's just, there's a port. There's some oil. There's 300,000 people. I mean, it's a large town, but it I don't know, it doesn't sound that much fun. Working at one such kiosk named Common Grounds is 18-year-old Samantha Koenig. She is a cheerful 5'4" tomboy who fancies guns, riding ATVs, fishing and camping. I mean, I don't want to stereotype people from Alaska, but thereafter, she was due to be picked up at around 8:30 by her boyfriend, Dwayne. David's provided me with a pronunciation guide for Dwayne. Which, I mean, I guess, thanks, but also slightly insulted. Was it this show we talked about this? I used to work in a supermarket. There was a panic button on the till. And the guy who was doing me my orientation on the first day in the supermarket was, don't press the panic button. If someone's robbing you, just give them all the money. And then once they've left, you can press the panic button. Don't press it while they're there. We don't want you to get hurt. And if they see you pressing it, they might stab you or something. So just give them the money. It doesn't matter. There's not that much money in the till. And in their minds, corporate are thinking, and the lawsuit would be far more expensive than the money in the till, wouldn't it now? Although, could there be a lawsuit there? You're just doing your job. Who are you going to see? The supermarket? It's not their fault. The guy with a knife came in and stabbed you. What are you going to do? Sue him? He's robbing a supermarket. He probably doesn't have a ton of money. You'd hit the jackpot if you find out that guy's actually a billionaire. And he just robs for the kick of it, like in movies, which I just don't think is a thing in real life. Although I guess people shoplift if they have money because they get it. What's it called? There's a disease. Kleptomania? Is it kleptomania or is that something else? I feel like that's right. People have that disease where it's just like they like stealing. It's exciting. Why are police scanners a thing? I feel like the police should be talking on some special encrypted police radio. But then again, I know you can listen to them online because I found out about it once and I was like, that's cool. But I mean, we shouldn't... I feel like it's not good. The police should be allowed to talk secretly about policing stuff for reasons that are exactly this. Look, if you're committing crimes, don't, while you're committing crimes, commit smaller accidental crimes or pick up stuff from the ground to sell later. Focus on the task at hand. You're committing a major crime. This would be like, driving a race car and being like, oh, yeah, no, I'll just pull over for some, like, a cigarette or something. It's like, no. Focus on driving the race car. You're doing something that should require all of your attention. Kidnapping a person. What's wrong with criminals? What are you doing? Don't take that. Very considerate putting that seatbelt on. Okay. My dude, did you just kidnap someone without any sort of plan and now you're just driving around trying to think of a plan and smoking a cigar? I'm like, dude, think through just a little bit before you do these crimes. So you've been driving around for hours and the one thing that you've come up with is go back to the crime scene and make it less suspicious. You're breaking so many of our rules, my guy. Like, there are so many rules that you have to obey, like clean up your crime scene, destroy the evidence, maybe don't leave a cell phone behind, maybe let her take her coat so it looks like she's actually locked up and gone somewhere else rather than been kidnapped. And now you're returning to your crime scene. What are you up to? Oh no, and now he's showing you his face. Oh wait, he had a balaclava on the whole time. Ay. Terrible criminal. I mean, he's a terrible criminal because he's kidnapped someone, but he's also really bad at being a criminal. He just didn't think anything through at all. Isn't he serious? Is he a... Oh, he's a phantom psychopath. He doesn't seem to be very phantom-y so far, does he? Not losing a millisecond, the man legs it down the street, quickly checks over his shoulder to make sure that he's not being observed, dives into his girlfriend's car and drives off in the opposite direction. While driving to a nearby ATM machine, the man realizes he's forgotten the PIN number. Well, you're the worst criminal ever. He tests the PIN number but does not withdraw cash. He drives all the way back to his house and barges into the shed. What was the PIN number again? Oh man, come on. It's another rule. I swear on the list of rules, if you're new here, there's gradually accumulating. There's like 70 of them now, like rules for criminals. Getting drunk while you're committing crimes is one of the rules. Like, don't do it. Because it's just not good. You're not going to be better at crime if you're drunk. Dude, that is so weird. That is so weird. You just murdering someone and it's like, oh, well, you murdering someone yesterday? Off on a 12-day cruise today. Way! Police followed leads regarding Samantha's connection with drug dealers, people who were allegedly robbing those drug dealers, and people who were conducting grow-ops within local residential houses. Okay, fair play, police. I mean, her putting her hands up is a little bit suspicious, though, isn't it? Shouldn't we have looked into that? And also, even if it's like maybe she's been convicted by kidnapped by drug makers or sellers or whatever drug people do. She's been kidnapped. Okay, this isn't bad policing. It's not brilliant. It's just not bad. Like in many episodes of The Casual Criminalist, allow me to provide some highly intriguing insight that comes direct from a professional criminalist colleague of mine. What? David, you've been holding out on me. You have a professional criminalist colleague? That's like the opposite of me. I thought about calling this the armchair criminalist because, you know, like an armchair person or like a backseat driver criminalist or something like that. But nothing quite had that same ring as Casual Criminalist. But wow. Oh my God, that person should definitely be hosting this podcast, not me. I'm just an idiot. They also call this getting railroaded. I mean, obviously, if you're guilty, then you're railroaded to prison where you belong. But if you're innocent, it's like, if the police lock in on you and they're like convinced it's you, you get that whole confirmation bias thing going on where you're like, you see a clue and it's like, it fits with our guy, doesn't it? Even if it doesn't, because it confirms your theory, and human brains love having their theories confirmed. And then boom! The next thing you know, you're in the chair. Electric chair, that is. This is America, right? Yeah, Alaska. I'm always like, yeah, Canada. But it's not Canada. It's that weird slice of Canada that belongs to America. How weird is that? Although as a British person talking about weird slices of the world belonging to another country, I realize I cannot really talk. What is this guy's life? What are you up to? Where are your family? Like, doesn't he have a job? Like, the idea of, he's got a kid and a wife. I have a kid. I have kids and a wife and a job. And the idea that I could just, like, find the time to go around murdering, drive around for 4 hours, smoke a cigar, go to the Caribbean for 12 days, while listening to death metal in my garage in the garden and them not noticing. It's like, what is your life? How are you doing this? I couldn't lead a double life. I don't have enough time. It would be impossible. And again, your crime planning is terrible. You get distracted very easily. Not us on Casual Criminalist. That's why we rise above. That's right. Some self-praise. For David. It's not really my praise. I just read David's great words. Sorry. I was praising the show, not myself. Why are you spending a year doing this? Just go get a job, you lazy bum. Busted. Why are the rolls of cash stained by a dime? Oh, because he robbed a bank. Of course he did. You're the most terrible criminal ever. How did you actually manage to commit these crimes? You're so incompetent, I'm kind of amazed. You're going to jail forever. Hopefully. Or maybe you're, where is it? Texas? Anchorage? Alaska? I feel like these are places where they're definitely, I feel like name American places that have the death penalty. Texas, absolutely number one place that enters my mind. Because it's, yeehaw. And then Anchorage, Alaska, I just feel because there must be lots of criminals in Alaska, right? It's where they all go. I feel like it's just a trope. Like, where you're going to head up to Alaska after committing crimes. In order to make ends meet, John lets out his services as an appliance repairman. How are you an expert on appliances? You don't even have electricity in your house, John. You weirdo. All their neighbors, Simon being like, Simon, don't call people weird who don't want electricity in their house. That's not weird. That's just alternative living. And I'm like, yeah, but it's weird, isn't it? Subjectively weird. Because everyone else is like, you know what's great? Electricity. Sucks when the electric goes out. What? Okay. Oh, okay. So it's just, well, that's just racism, isn't it? It's like, no, it's not racism. It's not racism. We're just genetically superior. It's like, mate, well, you're obviously not genetically superior in the intelligence department because that is racism. Oh, look, an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. That's unusual. That's sarcasm.